Welcome to Creative Cooking. Today we're going to make chicken marsala. You know, it's one of those things you get in wedding receptions, and it's delicious. We're going to start off by prepping 2 chicken breasts. It's about 1.5 pounds total, and we want to turn them into fillets. And you just use a long knife, nice and sharp, and cut the long way. And then you divide it into portions. Now, I like doing it small. I like to have lots of smaller pieces of chicken. This way here, if somebody wants to go back for seconds, or they only want to try it, or they only want a little, you got small pieces. So it's not really much more work, and I prefer doing it that way. So once you've done that, gather all your ingredients, and they're up here on the screen. If you want to see it, you can pause it. You can also find it down in the description below. We're going to dust that with some salt and some pepper. I prefer doing salt and pepper directly as opposed to using seasoned flour. It's just a habit of mine. Salt and pepper direct, give it a nice stir, and then go ahead and dust them with flour. Now, you could use the shake and bake method, and if you know what I mean, it's a bag, you put the flour in, and you shake the bag, and it coats the chicken. But we're doing this on film, and I want you to be able to see how much flour is going into this. And remember that we just want to do it lightly, not a lot, and we don't really have to shake off the excess because there isn't any. Once everything is coated to your liking, get yourself a stainless steel pan. We want to use stainless steel if possible, because stainless steel makes the best pan sauces. Into that we'll melt 2 tablespoons of olive oil, about a tablespoon of butter, and we want to fry this in batches, only until it's browned, and we're not too concerned with whether or not it's cooked in the center. It's not the intent to cook it completely, we just want to brown it, and we want to develop that fond at the bottom of the pan. This is one of the reasons why we use stainless for pan sauces. We're going to add in some onion and a little bit of butter, but at this stage I was a little bit concerned that I was going to burn that fond. It's not what I want to do. I want to remove it from the heat for now until I make a decision as to what I'm going to do next. And it's like anything else, sometimes you have to make adjustments as you go. So after putting in a little more butter into the pan, I realized, I gotta put garlic in here too. And if I continue to do what I'm doing, I'm going to burn the bottom, and I don't want it to burn. So I deglaze with a little bit of the Marsala wine, or you could use chicken broth or even water for that matter. And that's just to prevent anything from burning any further. We just want to saute the onion, or in this case shallot, and garlic, just enough to take the raw edge off before we do anything else. I'm going to throw in the thyme and toast that real quick, but again, I want to deglaze it, but I don't want to put the mushrooms in. So what I do is I put in the wine, because we've got to cook off the alcohol anyway. We're going to use the wine and the chicken broth that's slated for this recipe. We're going to go ahead and put it in to completely deglaze and clean the bottom of the pan. Okay, we're going to just mix it around. You'll want to use a wooden spoon or a plastic spoonula or spatula, whatever you want to call it. It's one of my favorite utensils, by the way, and it's great for doing this. And you're going to clean that pan, put a little butter in the bottom, and we're going to throw in the mushrooms. And these are baby bellas, or basically baby portobello mushrooms that have already been sliced. I bought them in the market that way. It's pretty convenient, really. And you want to saute those until they exude all of their liquid, and then once the liquid evaporates, they begin to brown. And when they do, they create yet another fond. So we actually have 2 fonds to work with. And we're going to deglaze with the original liquid and just mix it all up. And that'll come up really easy because it was a very thin layer. And look at that, isn't that beautiful? It's nice and dark. That's because it's a pan sauce at this point. And we're going to add the heavy cream. And yes, you could use light cream for this. And all you want to do with it is bring it back to a simmer. That's it. Normally, if you were using this as a pan sauce, you would reduce this just a little bit to thicken it. But there's no need to do that because when we put the chicken in, the chicken already had some flour on it. And that flour, when it comes in contact with this, will in turn thicken the sauce even further. Which brings me to a point. If you find that the sauce is too thick, you can very, very easily thin it back out with some more stock or even just plain water, because the flavors have been so concentrated in this sauce that you can't dilute it. Really, you can't dilute it and ruin the flavor because it's so strong to begin with. But I served it this way with a salad on the side. But if I was going to serve it with rice, noodles, or mashed potatoes, I would definitely hit that with some water or some chicken stock to thin it out so that you have plenty of sauce to pour over the rice or whatever starch you decide to use. So go ahead and garnish that with some parsley or green onion, whatever you like, and get ready to enjoy the most delicious chicken marsala you've ever had. So I hope this was useful to you. I hope you try it, and I hope that you come back each week for more great videos made for people who like to cook. Until then, bon appetit.